VFBE, minority-owned or women-owned business. Now, this loan offers funds from $10,000 to $45,000 with an interest rate of 0%. We also have several other loan programs through the state that can assist with any financing for special projects that you might come across, or to assist with any other lending programs from other private financial institutions. And we have several details regarding those programs that you could schedule time with our financial coach, Heather Landon, to discuss that in further detail to see which ones would be better fit for your business. So with these programs, the state has been working diligently to be able to provide the capital access to those in need. Here are just some of our numbers for what the entire state of Ohio has been able to provide for small businesses across the state. So of course, in order to, as I mentioned, become eligible for some of those loan programs, you would need to be certified. The certifications not only assist with the lending programs, but they also provide you plenty of opportunity through procurement. So at this time, we'd like to discuss what these certifications are and what the process for applying for those certifications would look like. So what we have are 4 different certifications that your business could receive. You could receive 1 certification, you could receive all 4 certifications. The certifications that are offered are the Minority Business Enterprise, also known as MBE, the Encouraging Diversity, Growth, and Equity certification, known as the EDGE certification, the Women Business Enterprise, also known as WBE, and the Veteran Friendly Business Enterprise, known as VFBE. So to give you a little bit of background of what these programs actually provide, not only those loans that were previously mentioned, but when it comes to procurement opportunities, for example, the MBE certification comes along with a special set-aside amount of funding for procurement opportunities for those that are certified as MBE. So there is a requirement of 15% of funds for special projects to be allocated towards minority-owned businesses. So once you become certified, that kind of puts you at the forefront to be able to bid on those opportunities. With the EDGE program, there is the kind of same benefit. Instead of a requirement, there is a 5% goal that often goes above and beyond that goal to spend those government funds with those that are certified with the EDGE certification. With the WBE, there are a few surrounding states that also take the certification. So if there are any other opportunities in these states, you would be able to utilize that certification to make you qualified for that opportunity. And then lastly, with the VFBE, that is a veteran-friendly certification that is recognized in all 50 states. So again, if there are any other opportunities in other states, specifically for procurement opportunities, if you have that certification, then you would meet that requirement for it. In order to become certified in these areas, there are a couple of qualifications that you would need to keep in mind. When it comes to the minority business enterprise, there would need to be at least 51% ownership categorized as minority ownership. With the EDGE certification, 51% ownership would either need to reside in a hub zone, which we would be able to look into that with your zip code for where you reside, as well as you can also meet that requirement if you have a personal net worth that's less than $750,000. So if 51% ownership meets one of those requirements, then you would be qualified for that certification. When it comes to the women's owned business, women business enterprise, you would need to have 51% ownership categorized as women ownership. And then lastly, the veteran-friendly business enterprise, not only could you be qualified if 51% of your ownership falls into a veteran status, but also if 10% of your employees are considered veterans, then you can also benefit and qualify from this particular certification. With all certifications, you would need to be operating in business for at least a year. So one of the ways that we check that is with your registration through the Secretary of State, or if you can provide documentation to show that you've been operating prior to that registration, that can be considered as well. So this is just some information of how many certifications we've recently provided throughout the state. So there are several thousands of businesses that have been certified, benefiting from the opportunities that are presented with the certifications. So in order to become certified, the process includes submitting documentation to the state's office for their Department of Development, and to submit an application as well. We will assist you with both. And to get a better understanding of what that documentation looks like, I will invite my colleague, Madison Lloyd, another certification specialist, to discuss what those documents are. Madison?
So here we have the required documents for MBE certification, EDGE, and WBE certs. It does I know at first glance it seems very lengthy, and it is, but that's why we're here to help you navigate through this and get it all completed. So for step one, the state requires for you to have eligibility into the program. So this could be either a passport and or a birth certificate. We do also, there's a requirement for an affidavit to be signed and notarized. And will mention that we do have 2 notaries here at the office if you do need our support. For step 2, last tax year's state of Ohio tax return for at least 51% owners. For 3, we need a bank signature card or a letter on the bank's letterhead explaining who has signature authority for the company's bank accounts. And again, this is just your bank stating who has that authority over your account. There's personal federal tax returns of at least 51% owners. And this could be Form 1040 or 1040A for the 3 last tax years. Or 1099s for at least 51% owners and spouses for the past 3 tax years. There's business taxes, including Schedule K and or Form 1065 or Schedule C for the past 3 years or the life of the company. For step 6, most recent annualized balance sheet. And I will say that our financial advisor, Heather Landon, is able to assist with these for 6, 7, and 8, as it does have to do with financials. So 7 is the most recent annualized cash flow statement, and 8 would be the most recent annualized profit and loss or income statement. And again, this is just going over the profits or losses within your company. For step 9, a facility lease or ownership documentation. And this can really just be wherever your business is operating out from. So we would need the lease or ownership documentation for that. Step 10 would be any loans and security agreements, including bonds and or company and personal promissory notes. So for this, if you don't have any loans with your company, you can just put this on your company letterhead, just stating that you don't have any loans or security agreements. For step 11, equipment list, including vehicles and or associated title documents. Equipment list, what we usually tell our clients is if you have anything, whatever you're utilizing for your business to keep it running. So what you might use on a day-to-day, your table, your laptop, certain things of that nature you're able to put on your equipment list. For step 12, a list of subcontractors or suppliers used in associated agreements. So if you have any subcontractors or anybody that you're buying things from or working with within your company, you're able to put a list of those subcontractors that you're utilizing. For 13, 2 largest signed service contracts. And the state isn't looking for you to have like a specific amount of your largest signed contracts. I've seen some of our clients only have $200 for a signed contract. So it doesn't have to be a specific number. They just want to see that you are doing the work. For the second page, if you look, there are some additional documents that are needed if you're applying for EDGE, if you're a partnership, if you're a corporation, or a limited liability company, which is LLC. So for EDGE certification, again, our financial advisor, Heather, is more than welcome to assist you with these, as we do need a personal net worth statement, a company value worksheet, or a disability verification form if it is applicable to you. So for the personal net worth statement, this is just showing everything that you own, what is your personal net worth, basically. And the same with the company value worksheet, it's showing how much your business is generating. For partnerships, we would just need a partnership agreement stating, the terms of the partnership, and a resume. Your resume would just be your general work resume, so nothing out of the ordinary, whatever you would use to apply for a job. For corporations, we would need a stock certificate, both sides, issued by your company, in a stock journal or ledger, and this is just showing the shares, or who owns the most within your company, the percentages of that. The same with the limited liability companies, a unit certificate, unit journal or ledger, and a resume.
All right, at this time, we'd like to bring back on Hope Jackaway to give us some information regarding our technical assistance that we provide, along with details on procurement assistance as well. Hope?
Thank you. Thank you, Rosita. So in terms of technical assistance, we do have our business advisor, Cherie Wallace, who can help you, as I had mentioned earlier, with business research, putting together a strategic plan, making sure your mission and vision statements are ready to go for your corporation. She can also provide some contract assistance and possibly connecting you with some geez, I can't even think right now, sorry. So bidding opportunities as well, because she does come across some of those. And then for myself, I am actively looking for contracts and bidding opportunities for the members of our programs who come through, so that we can share those with you, so that you have that opportunity to bid on those contracts. And that is by working with government individuals, corporations, just to networking throughout the community, so that we can have the best opportunity to share your company with those individuals. Additionally, we, as I get ramped up, the goal is to provide some counseling and guidance to you as well as you're preparing to submit those bids or for those contracts. We'll be looking at providing some webinars or workshops for you to get you ready. My hope is that we'll be able to bring in some of our corporate partners who can really talk to you about what they're looking for as they are opening bids and opportunities for various businesses. Next slide. So then we will transition into our question and answer. I know we've seen some popping up in the chat, so we will get through those now. Danielle, will you be going through those for us?
I will. Good day, everyone. We will go ahead and get started with a few of these questions here. Our first one, can we access the checklist outside of this Lunch and Learn? Yes, you definitely can. You will be receiving a post-event email, which just gives you some information about how to continue to connect with our services, the recording of today's Lunch and Learn, and what I can also do is add that checklist link for you all as well, so you will have access to. All right. Second question, is your company not eligible if you have not been operating for 3 years? I'll go ahead and let one of our
So I can, yes, I can
Mhm.
take that. So you only need to be operating for at least a year. I know that the tax information requires 3 years of details, so that will definitely be 3 years of your personal taxes. And then when it comes to your business taxes, if you've only been operating for a year or two, then just the life of the business is what you would need to provide.
Thank you, Rosita. We have a question from Miss Lisa. Is this for nonprofits too?
So at this time, and apologies for not stating so before, but at this time, the certifications are for for-profit businesses. Unfortunately, at this time, there's not a nonprofit option.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. This question is from Carmen. Can you please share the name of the person mentioned that can assist? It would essentially be all of us. And again, we'll be sending some follow-up emails on how you can connect with our services.
And if I believe, because we've mentioned her name a few times in regards to the financial assistance, that would be Heather Landon. And Danielle, I believe with the information in the follow-up email, we should have our details of how to connect with us. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Unia, what is a unit journal?
I'll take that one again. So when it comes to the LLC certificate and unit journal, both myself and Madison would be able to provide you not only a template for those to be completed, but as well as an example. And just as a brief explanation, the certificate will not be the same as the one that you receive when you register your business with the Secretary of State. This is more so to define the percentage of ownership that you have. So if it's 100%, then it'll be straightforward and only one certificate needs to be provided. If there are several owners, then however many owners there are, you would need to provide that amount of certificates. And then with the ledger, that item just mostly keeps track of whether or not the business has been sold or transferred. So again, if it hasn't, then that would be straightforward as well. So again, we'll provide you the details with the template as well as an example of how to complete both of those.
All right, excellent. We got a lot of questions coming in. We left off here with Unia. Now we're going to go to Holly. Do online businesses qualify, or is this a brick and mortar? I don't have a lease document.
Sure. So all businesses would, if you're a for-profit business, you reside in Ohio and you operate in Ohio mostly, then you would be able to receive the certification. If you are a business that is home-based, then the information regarding that location needs to be provided. So that would either be a lease from the landlord or a mortgage deed needs to be provided for that address.
Thank you, thank you. All right, we got a nice handful of them. I love this. Are you eligible if you're inactive for the last tax year? Can you still go through with the certification process?
You would be able to still move forward as long as your LLC registration is active. Then you would be able to move forward in the process. Just kind of as a suggestion, I know several business owners tend to not file taxes if they didn't make a certain amount or if they didn't make anything at all, but it is in your best interest to keep track of those profits throughout the years and still file your taxes even if your profit is zero. So if you haven't before, then it's probably suggested that you meet with an accountant and do an amended filing for those previous year taxes if you haven't done those previously.
Good, good, good. Let's see. Unia Moon, do we have to wait 1 year into our business to apply for any of these certifications?
Typically, that is the rule of thumb to be operating for at least a year. You can always prepare ahead of time just by reviewing the checklist and kind of getting those documents together. And then, as we previously mentioned, if you can show any sort of documentation that you've been operating, whether it's investing in the business, purchasing equipment, actually having some sales prior to that registration, then as long as we can show that through your documentation, we could submit it to the state for their consideration. And then they may just ask for additional details if that's not covering the requirement for them.
Excellent. Hopefully that answers her other question as well, in reference to generating profit before we can apply. I believe you touched on that with the previous question before this one.
So yes, it's,
yeah.
go ahead.
You're fine,
Just
go ahead.
briefly, the amount of profit that you have is not going to really weigh in on whether or not you receive your certification. The main purpose of this review when the state reviews your application is to ensure that you're operating as a business. So don't be discouraged if you aren't profiting a whole lot, because that's the intention of this program, is to help you with growing your business through the lending programs and the procurement opportunities. So they're not looking for a large amount of revenue at this point in your journey.
Thank you, thank you. Halima has asked 2 questions. They have stated, I have a lounge and grill. Are there opportunities available? This business is also a very nice event space. And then the second question would be that she's also a sole proprietor. Would she qualify to complete certifications or obtain certifications?
So event space is definitely a big ticket item that has a lot of opportunity. One thing I would like to say is once you do become certified, you are included in a directory on the state's website of businesses that are currently certified. And quite often, any opportunity that comes out for procurement, there are notifications that are sent to you to invite you to come and bid. So do expect that once you become certified. And then our resources are still available to search for specific opportunities through Hope or even Cherie through their counseling and search and procurement opportunities.
All right. That was the last question, unless we have any others. I'll wait a little bit here.
Danielle, we do have some in the Q&A box.
Oh, I thought that's what I was reading from. Ooh, there's a couple questions in there. Okay. Okay, we talked about that, about the unit journal. How long does it take to find out if you've been certified? Will you get feedback if you are denied, Margot?
So a denial, that kind of varies. Typically, you should be able to reach out to the state for more information. And we don't experience too many denials. They'll try to close the application first so that you can try to correct any information and reapply. So it's kind of rare that any denials are received. But as far as a timeline of when you should receive a decision, once we have everything submitted to the state and they have all of the details that they need, then the clock begins and you should have your decision within 90 days. So within that 90-day time frame, they will reach out for an interview to just kind of discuss everything that you've submitted. And then soon after that interview is when they make their decision. So 90 days is kind of worst case scenario. For the most part, you should receive information back quite sooner than that.
All right. Sherry has asked, if I did work November through December of 2024 with my business, but I am still waiting on payment from a city entity, would that count as work completed in 2004, since I have to show you taxes from the last 3 years?
Okay, so again, there's work that's been completed in 2024. And are you asking if taxes have to be filed because of that? If there's any sort of operation, yes, you would need to file taxes for that year. And that would be part of the review that the state goes through. So hopefully that kind of answered your question.
So it sounds like she completed the work in November and December of 2024, but still has not been paid for it, and wanted to know if she should use that in her 2024 taxes since she hasn't been paid, or since she hasn't been paid and it's already 2025, would that go towards the 2025 tax season?
So this is more so of when the payment was received and how it's being reported. So with that, because we're not a tax certified group, I would reach out to a tax specialist or an accountant and get that clarification.
Thank you, thank you. Let's see, Beverly, if you do not remember your certificate with the state, how can you activate it to a current status, or do you have to register again? So did it expire? It sounds like this might be a renewal question.
Right. And is that for, if we're speaking of certifications, The certifications last for 2 years. You do receive a notice 90, 60, and 30 days ahead of time to try to recertify. And then at times, if depending on when it expired, we can see if we can still move forward with the recertification process, which less documentation would need to be submitted at that time. But if we've gone beyond that expiration date, then we would need to submit a full application with all the required documents.
Excellent. Sherry, will we be posting this information later? Yes, this information will be on our YouTube channel. I will be sending a follow-up email, which has the recording to this event, a survey, some information about our upcoming events, and how to connect with our services in the future. Are there any opportunities for hairstylists? Opportunities are available for all businesses, so we do not limited at all. Let's see, I got some other
There's
ones in
some
the
questions
other.
in the chat.
Yeah, we're moving. Mary, should I be concerned as a female business owner with the sweeping changes that are happening with the current presidential administration? For us, our leaders have let us know that we are just going to continue the work as usual. There's not going to be anything to worry about for us because we are still here to serve the community. That's what we've been here for, especially with the Urban League being over 100 years old. We are active and present. Social justice, political issues, that is our scope of work. So we are still planning to be 100% active in what we do. Zoom user, is there an office where we can walk in? Yes, we are located at the Columbus Urban League, but we do not accept walk-in appointments. We are by appointment only. And that is just because, of course, we want to make sure that our business owners have their dedicated one-on-one time with each specialist. Especially since you all are business owners as well, we want to make sure we get those things scheduled for you all so you can plan for it and come prepared. And so that our specialists can also be prepared to assist you during your one-on-one appointment. So yes, as I mentioned earlier, I will be sending you all out information about how to connect with our services as far as completing the intake registration form and scheduling your appointments. And of course, we also offer office hours too. Tomorrow, Madison is hosting an office hours at the Reynoldsburg Library. We have a office hour at the end of the month on Saturdays. We got an abundance of things so we can continue to connect with you all. Can you guys help us file taxes for our businesses? I believe I know the answer to that. No, we do not do tax preparation. But if you reach out to us, maybe send us an email, maybe we can connect you to local resources. Zoom user, also looking for inexpensive business accounting services. Well, I think that's an excellent thing to be looking for. If you join us Saturday, March 15, 2025 from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., we are having a professional services speed networking event that I'll speak to a little bit later before this presentation ends. Tasha Brown, what about funding for food truck? With our funding, rather whatever your business is, our funding opportunities are not limited to one specific business industry.
So those programs that were mentioned earlier, the women's business loan, the micro loan, the minority direct loan, those all can assist with your food truck needs. So definitely reach out and schedule some appointments so we can discuss further about what that looks like.
Okay. Should nonprofits file taxes? In terms of tax questions and your eligibilities, we definitely recommend getting with a tax expert because that is not within our scope of services. But again, reaching out to us, we can connect you to local service resources. For the person who asks about these information, I will send you all the information so you can directly RSVP and have all the details with you. All right, let me take a look at the Q&A. Margot has asked, are there any other key or high demand areas of procurement that have significant opportunities? I know event space was mentioned. Anybody want to take a snag at that?
So it ebbs and flows in terms of opportunities. A lot of companies may be looking for consultants, or they may be looking for someone to provide some IT services. It just really depends on what's going on with, say, the government or a private corporation. So it's always a good idea to be out looking, so that way you can see what's coming and going in terms of opportunities. I know trucking too has been one of those opportunities that seems to be picking up. Construction, especially with all of the various building projects that are happening in Columbus. So there may be opportunities in sort of those plumbing, electrician, heating, cooling, like I said, trucking. So those are always things to be on the lookout for.
All right. Let's see, any additional questions before we go forward? Last call for questions, last call for questions. All right, we'll go ahead and keep going forward if I can get the next slide. All right, so we are, of course, an extension of the Department of Development. And we always want to make sure that we are shouting them out and getting you all to their webpage, as well as they also offer an abundance of resources and knowledge just as much as we do. So we want to definitely make sure we get you connected to the Minority Business Development Division. And if you have your cell phone, you can definitely take your camera and scan to receive this to get right to their website. Next slide. You want to connect with our services, we definitely want to make sure that we make that available to you as well. The website address is, of course, cul.org/MBAC/ and then, of course, that QR code is available. Our office is, again, by appointment only. Our email is available right here. mbac@cul.org is on top of our phone. The best way to get in communication with us, especially if you have inquiries about getting an appointment, would be to send us an email so we can get you those scheduling links sent to you ASAP. Next slide. And lastly, we want to thank you very much for attending today's business certification presentation. We absolutely would love for you all to give us some feedback about this session, our presentation skills. And also there's a section on there that allows you just to give us some feedback about some things you want to see from us in the future. So definitely take that time to just take a few minutes to complete that survey here from us. This helps us improve our future webinars and just overall serving our clients. Next slide. Earlier, I mentioned our professional services event. We are hosting our professional services speed networking event on Saturday, March 15th, 2025 from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. This is a fast-paced, structured event that will allow you to meet people, network with other business owners, entrepreneurs, community leaders, professional service providers in the scopes of financial services, legal services, IT, photography, HR, business coaching, a variety of different nonprofit and business support. So we definitely want to see you here on Saturday, March 15th at 780 Mount Vernon Avenue, which is directly across from the Columbus Urban League's main building. We have two buildings in our area. You can, of course, park at the Columbus Urban League, but you will have to walk across the street just for a second to meet us there. We will have breakfast and lunch provided. We will have raffle prizes. We will have a elevator speech presentation. We will have a keynote speaker. We will have raffles. We will have a good time, and we want you to be there. So if you go ahead and scan that QR code at the very bottom, you'll be able to register to attend this event up until March 12th, 2025. It is a free event, so please don't hesitate to come join us. If you have any questions, of course, shoot us an email at mbac@cul.org. And let's do next slide, or this may be the last slide. All right. And again, we want to thank you all for joining us. I see we have some questions before I do completely go off here. Okay, Jacqueline Dixon Gordon says she is a tax preparer.
And then I'd also like to mention, please definitely register with our office if you haven't done so already, so that we can include you in the email list for our newsletter that goes out on a weekly basis. Within that newsletter, there's quite often some webinars to provide you with some details on filing your taxes. These webinars are often through SCORE or the SBA, and they provide a lot of information for new businesses and those that have been established for a while on how to better prepare your taxes. And if there are any other tax accountants that are willing to offer their services, please do so in the chat. But there are plenty of resources that we have available to assist you in filing your taxes.
And use of acts, are there opportunity for businesses that wish to partner with the Urban League? As far as that, my recommendation would be to contact the Urban League directly, or even just visiting their website to fill out the contact form, as far as any opportunities they may have for partnerships. All right. Well, we thank you all very much for being here with us today. These lunch and learns happen on the second and fourth Thursday of each month. We present on a variety of different topics. So again, if there's something that you're interested in, taking the opportunity to put that on that survey form is definitely a great place to do that, because we want to make sure that we are meeting the needs of our clients in the communities. We want you to have a great Friday Eve and a great weekend, and we will see you all later.